Greetings again. This is Dr. Bill Wyatt with the American Orthodontic Society, and we'll do a short video today on what's the best way to deal with missing lateral, upper lateral teeth. Now, lowers, it doesn't make that much difference on the bottom, but it does on the top. And if you're missing one lateral, frequently it's best to take both of them, especially if the laterals are quite a bit smaller than the cuspids. So you can take a cuspid and shape it into a lateral, and if both of them are the same way, you just can hardly tell it. And that's the way this young lady here was. We did this back in '93, I believe, and she came in about 15 or 16 years later, and it was just looked perfect almost. And so this has been one of my favorite cases to show about doing laterals like this. Now, in some places in California, they just thought this was a real bad thing to do, and I had a friend of mine that did this on somebody, and they went to California, and they told them it was a real bad thing, and so we had to get the orthodontic department here in Dallas to write a letter to them and tell them that was what we taught here in Dallas, in the Texas area. So anyway, let's get on with the case here. The young lady is this. I'm going to just show her models. Now these were made in March of '93, and she's got a deep bite. You see the teeth. Whoops, we messed up there. Let's see. I'm going to have to go back and get the little deal back on there, so I can write on the case. Now, this is where the upper teeth came down on the lower teeth like this, and here are the cuspid teeth, and they're in her mouth now, and they look like cuspids, and we're going to come in and shape these teeth like laterals, and that'll reduce this width in here, and then line up the rest of the teeth back here, so your first bicuspid becomes a cuspid, but we do not take off the lingual cusp, just leave it on there. And we did this and leveled the bite out, and did this, started in March of '93 and finished it pretty quick after that. And on the right side of the mouth, this is nearly perfect class 1. See, this tooth really needs to be in here, and this point of this tooth ought to touch the second bicuspid back there, and you have all these 6 keys. And then this tooth would end up being the cuspid. You'd have to rotate it a little bit to get the point down in here. And so we did these things for this young lady, and the other side, of course, we rotated this tooth around here, brought it back in, and it served as a cuspid, and this cuspid, we have it serving as a lateral. And so we had to sacrifice one tooth down on the bottom so it would match out like this. So let's go on to the upper. You can look at this. Excuse me, I'm going to have to pause for a minute. All right, we're back in business now. So we're going to shape these teeth up right here. I'll have to go ahead and, excuse me again, and let's see if we're able to write. So this tooth right here and this one here is the one we're going to shape up. And these teeth will be cuspids. We do not take the lingual cusp down like a cuspid doesn't have that. So we turn this tooth around in this direction and we just leave that in there and you just don't hardly see it at all. And so go through the whole case like that. Now let's go to the, that's the top arch, there's nothing there. And this is the bottom arch, which is crowded. And so we're going to end up, I think, taking out the second bicuspids, and that'll allow these teeth to drift up a little bit better, and we won't lose much of the profile coming across this way. So anyway, this is 1993 when we started this, and we've got, I didn't think of this, I shot a picture of the models, and you can see the upper teeth, the lower teeth bump and hit the upper teeth here. So her jaw is kind of locked in this forward position, where, the distal position, and she couldn't move it forward. But this lady didn't seem to have any TMJ problem because of the jaw positioning being back like that. So it's all right to have that touch, but now when we get through, these teeth will be down. We'll come in and take these down, and we'll probably raise these a little bit in the front up here. Let's go to the next deal. Now here is the first Panorex that we took. Now actually we saw this young lady back when in 1981 we saw her, and we knew there was some problem going to take place in here. So we go back that far and had the x-ray of her in 1981. The next x-ray Panorex that we took was, well, that's number 3. Let's see if we got a number 2. That's 1. No, we don't have a number 2. So number 3, we come in and take the tip of the cuspid off and a little bit off the sides, and just a small amount. And then on the labial of it, if we turned it around, we would trim that off just a little bit and polish it up. And on the back side of the cuspid, where you've got a tooth coming down kind of like this, we take this down some and have a place where the lower anteriors fit right up against this portion of the tooth. The lower anteriors will go in there, so you have to take a little bit out of this cuspid there. And just watch, you can hardly tell the difference in it. Now at this point, we come back on the bottom arch. I said second bicuspids, we didn't. We took the first bicuspids out. Well, we didn't send her back to her dentist, and they took those out. And then in the next picture here, this is a Panorex that we started off. Now we didn't do anything from 91 to 93 here, from 81 to 93. And when we saw her here, we could see that you took this out, you see the depth of the bite and the closed bite. We saw that the cephalometric we took. Now here the case is in 06. In other words, we did this in 1993, and we were going, this lady came in again that I would see her in 06, and that's from 93, that's 7 years, and 06 is another 6 years, so it's about 12, 13 years there that we didn't see her, and then I've seen her since then. But here the case is in '06. And she walked in, she had her original retainer and everything in her mouth, and this is what it looked like. Now, if you can, I would give this to most any dentist and just looking at it, and you can't really tell that this is a cuspid tooth shaped like a lateral. It looks like the other lateral over here, and you just would not know it. And this is after about 12, 13 years that we got to see this again. And then I've seen her since, and it's still like that. It's holding just perfectly well. So this is why I say if one of the teeth is gone, then you probably can take the other if the face can stand the reduction in the profile. If the profile is too flat, then you'll have to enlarge this and put a crown in it that matches this tooth over on the other side. But if the face can take it, then you take the laterals out, then you come back and you're going to take out the first bicuspid or the second bicuspid on the bottom arch to do this. Right here we'll go, let me erase that now, and we'll come in here, and this you're looking at it with no retainer in the mouth at all. Remember the bite was down something like this, so we opened the bite. We had a bite plate on the retainer that held the amount of overbite and overjet pretty much like it was. This tooth right here is a bicuspid, and you can detect that a little bit in here. You can't even see it over on the other side. Now that's what we made a bicuspid into a cuspid, made a cuspid into a lateral on this case. And to me, that's the best way to take care of missing lateral teeth. We're going to show several other cases like that. You look at it here. If you headed that to 50 dentists, I doubt if there'd be a half a dozen of them would tell you that's a cuspid unless they could see the x-ray. I mean, it has a cuspid root on it. Now, if you look carefully, you can see the back part of the first bicuspid, and you would know that this is a bicuspid, and this would have to be a lateral or a cuspid, but it looks just like a lateral. And so we'll go ahead and show the other side here. And here's the other side, and you can hardly tell this is not a cuspid, but you see the lingual cusp there. Now the cuspid looks so much like a lateral. So we took a little off of the sides, you take some off the here, then you take this down a little here and polish it and come underneath it like you got it coming like this. Then you've got to kind of cup out in a place like that to leave your spot for the lower anterior tooth to fit into that spot. And so this is the best looking one that I've ever done, and I thank you for watching it. The upper, when we look at it from that side, there's very little. See, this is a cuspid. We took a little bit off here, see, and some off of each side and off of the labial part of it. And we, of course, we trim the point off and take this down a little bit on the side. So there's 5 areas. You trim it down, trim the point, and then you cup out a little bit in here for your lower anterior tooth to fit right up in this area there. So that's the thing from looking at it from the top. Here it is, we put a bonded 3-to-3, and I put a substantial wire on that. And she's had that in there for 12, 13 years when we got this picture. And it stayed nice in here. So we took the first bicuspid, and these are second bicuspids, out. And she had no, the wisdom teeth, I don't think she even had them. So that's, I think that's, looking at it from the bottom, just put a mirror under there. Now this is a retainer, and we put a bite plate right across here. And so her lower teeth would bite up against this, and the bite wouldn't deepen again. And she was still using this retainer at night. I think she slept in it, but her teeth stayed just almost ideal. This is a little distorted over here. This picture is bent. And here is the young lady. And if you could show this picture to anybody you wanted to, a lot of times the cuspid is so thick it'll have a different shade to it. It's got a little different shade, but not much. But some of the cuspids are thicker. In other words, they come out like this and go back, whereas the lateral might be very thin in this area, and the cuspid will be darker. And so sometimes we take it down from the front and help the shade of it. You could, I don't know, you could bleach it a little bit, but not all that much. But that's, to me, the best way. If that was my mouth, that would be what I would want to do there. And you look at it with the lips together, and the profile. If you like straight facial profiles, you can't beat that. And so she's missing the teeth. And if you're one of these people that think that missing teeth is something you don't want to do, that is wrong. We have big people that marry smaller people, and sometimes the child gets the big tooth and they got the small bone structure. And you really have to take out some teeth to keep the facial structure looking properly. This is about as good as you can get with it. You come across here and you come up here, and these are in thirds right in here. So that's about as good as you can come up with. And this is still holding. I saw her a few years ago. But I haven't seen her in the last 6 or 8 years, but she was still holding good. Thank you for watching, and we'll strongly recommend deal with these missing lateral teeth by shaping that cuspid. And if you practice a little bit, you can shape a cuspid up, and it'll look so much like a lateral, you just can't tell the difference in there. So that's what I would recommend doing, shaping that up. And it's hard to tell that that is not a lateral tooth. You see a little darkenings, and it's compared with the central. The color is more like the bicuspid back in here. So thank you for watching, and I'm going to sign off, and hope you'll join our group and subscribe to it. And thank you for, I think we're giving ideas to people all over the world now. I'm not saying that I'm right on all these, so if you think I'm wrong, let me know what you think about it. And if you have good reason for it being wrong, I will certainly think it over, and if it's wrong with me, can't change it out. So thank you for watching, and I'm going to say goodbye now.